Now we're talking.
Nick, delighted to have you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man.
Just something that I like to start off with. I always ask the guests, what are you listening to these days?
What am I listening to? Oh, there's an album called Heavy Metal by this guy called Cameron Winter. I've been playing that a lot lately. I think it came out like maybe late last year. Um, yeah, that's a really cool album. There's a song on that called Love Takes Miles in particular that I've been really loving.
Mm.
Can't think of what else. Probably like the first time for a long time that I've really like been playing an album like over and over, really diving into it. It's been cool.
Sweet. And kind of like an origin story question, when and how did your initial interest in music begin?
I guess pretty young, like my parents always encouraged, I got two siblings. My parents always encouraged us to like they put us in piano lessons kind of early. Um and then I think it probably really kick-started like when I was 11, I started playing guitar, like doing guitar lessons. Mainly just because my older brother did, so I just whatever he did, I wanted to do as well. So that's sort of like that's how I started playing guitar, and then it just yeah followed on from there.
Awesome. So music was kind of always kind of present in your household?
Yeah, yeah, and not like not forced on us or anything like that. It was just kind of like a natural
Encouraged?
normal thing to do. It's just around. Yeah.
Nice. And do your siblings still play music?
Nah, not, like just dabble at home kind of thing. But yeah, not as much.
I saw this it was like a screen recording of a live stream you did like during the pandemic called
Yeah.
Isolate,
Yeah.
and I caught I caught a moment when you mentioned that you weren't really used to playing like without a band, and then fast forward to now I noticed that you did some tour dates earlier this year, and you did a few solo shows. So um, I was wondering, like, is it easier to play solo or with a full band?
It's there's kind of benefits to both. Like playing solo, I mean, it's way easier to rehearse because I can just do it whenever I've got time. I don't have to organize people. But and like there's a certain amount of in a way I can like if I want a song to go for a bit longer, I can just play it a bit longer and I don't have, four or five other people around me being like, what are you what are you doing? So in a way it's like it can be more malleable, but then in another way it's kind of restrictive playing solo. There's only so much stuff I can do, and that's when I have been playing solo for a while. I start to really miss playing with the band. And I think the band's like, yeah, it's like there's something really powerful about playing in a band with other people. That yeah, it's hard to do solo.
So your your upcoming release, I noticed that that you have a show coming up with the Holy Drug Couple, and that was uh that was crazy for me to see because when I first started listening to you, um, some of your songs, I was like, whoa, this kind of has like Holy Drugs tone in some ways, you know. So it was cool to see that, you know, that you guys have a show together.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be really cool. They've always been it's funny you say that. It sounded similar because the way I heard of them, I think, was probably like on Spotify, just looking at the people also listen to section on my stuff. So then I got onto them. I was like, oh yeah, I see that. But I hadn't, yeah. So it's I guess we're just like coming at it from similar angle from opposite sides of the world, which is cool.
And also, I I think I saw that you had played a show with another band from Australia I really like, Good Morning.
Yeah, yeah, I know those guys pretty well. We sort of started off around the same time as each other playing shows. Um, so yeah, and yeah, then they were like one of my favorite bands. Really, I think I don't really like talking about underrated and stuff like that. Like they're just really good, but they probably are, a pretty unsung band, especially here. They're a lot more well known in America than here. Like yeah, I feel like they go a bit underappreciated here for sure.
Oh wow. That's I would figure it'd be like the other way around or something.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah, it's crazy how those dudes, because I listen to hip hop as well, and I've noticed that they uh have been sampled, or you know, like they get referenced in hip hop artists' music. So it's cool. Like, yes, I do agree they're a little underrated, but it's cool that, you know, people still appreciate them that much to to sample them in their own music and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like as much as they're like a sort of a guitar kind of indie band, if you want to be really general about it, I think they've got a lot of influences coming into that. And then I think a lot of like on the other end of it, like what comes out appeals to people who aren't just into like guitar indie stuff as well. So that's kind of cool.
Totally. And so yeah, you did those tour dates earlier this year, but I was curious, besides the show with Holy Drug, um do you have anything like lined up as well to support the new album?
Um, Not at this stage. Definitely planning on coming back to the States. 'Cause I had a really good time. Did a tour in April, and it was yeah, had the best time. Like people came to the shows, which was cool. I didn't know if they were going to do that or not. So, and we're like people were really nice, and yeah, the crowds were awesome. So there's nothing set in stone at the moment, but really hoping to come back, and we'll do some shows around Australia as well.
Was that your first time touring here in the States, or have you been here before?
We had been once before with the band in like 2015. We played CMJ, which is kind of like South by Southwest, but in New York. So we did that, but yeah, like 10 years ago. So it was the first like proper headline tour.
Nice. And speaking of 10 years, I noticed last year was the 10th anniversary of Wanderer, and was curious, like what comes to mind when reflecting in that period of your career?
Yeah, it was wild that it's been 10 years. That's makes me feel old. Um, yeah, that was like a really probably the maybe the quickest I've recorded an album. Like they always tend to take a long time, but from my memory, like, it was a while ago, but yeah, it felt like a really creative period where I'd sort of yeah, landed on some sounds, but was also just doing lots of experimenting and kind of just throwing everything at it and seeing what stuck. Um, but also, yeah, like there was no expectation or anything like that. Like, I think I'd had a bit of music out and a few people had heard it, so that was cool. But I definitely like whenever I'm doing my best stuff, I'm not really thinking too much about like the reaction to it or anything like that. It's just I've got these ideas and like this is something I just need to make just for me first, and then we'll just get it out and see what happens. Um, and yeah, that was definitely the feeling I took into that album. Like it was really just um something inside me that I just needed to get out. But also like I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never never made an album before, so it was like all kind of a bit of a mess as well, but a mess that I liked.
Yeah, that is I think an important approach to to work on music is like to not really have outside expectations kind of nagging at you and just do what makes you excited about.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like all my favorite stuff that I've like any of my favorite albums feel like they've been made in that way. Like they haven't been made to please me or make me happy. Like it's just like a real window into someone's world and their own expression.
For sure. And um you know, I kind of tried reading some of your past interviews, and one thing that caught my attention, somebody compared your music to the word ethereal. And it's funny because that's kind of the word that springs to my mind too when I dove into your music. It just sounds like this kind of dreamy psychedelic sound, and I was wondering like um do any artists or bands kind of have that sound kind of resonate with you? Like do you know any pieces of music where you kind of have that same feeling?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I definitely want to gravitate towards. I think two artists that just came to mind, like Beach House is definitely one. They're a big influence, especially early on. Um, and My Bloody Valentine would be another one. Um, yeah, just that really it's dreamy, but like sometimes you could describe music as dreamy and it just feels kind of like light and fluffy, like it's got no substance to it, but their music really does. Like it's very emotional as well. Um, and just like it creates it like just brings up a lot of feelings. I think of that more as like emotional music than like float away dreamy music. Yeah, it's and so I guess that's something I sort of go for with my own stuff. Like I just want it to conjure up some sort of emotion, and sometimes I want it to be quiet and intimate. Other times I want it to be kind of the like sound like a feeling sort of overtaking you, that sort of thing.
I totally hear that, especially uh with My Bloody Valentine. I do hear kind of like some shoegaze influence, especially in the guitars. And
Yeah.
I also read that you your process um kind of starts with like making loops or like guitar loops. And I was wondering, do you still approach songwriting that way, or has there been any changes?
Pretty much. I still use it. Sometimes I um try and do it another way just to like just to see if it brings up anything different. But it's still, I find like the easiest way to really quickly figure out an idea. Like if I come up with one guitar part the easiest way to figure out something to go with it is just to loop it and then just try out a bunch of stuff. So I probably do it a little bit less than I used to just because I like to try different methods and see what happens. Um, but it's definitely still really handy.
And this next question, it's kind of it sounds a little funny to say, like it's kind of for me, but also it could be for you know some musician fans of yours that are also curious about this. It's because I dabble in music too, and recently um, I noticed like I I've always been like okay at writing lyrics, and it's funny because I would write lyrics first and then add music on it. But now it's kind of the opposite where like I it's easier for me to come up with chord progressions, but I'm blanking out with lyrics, I think, because I kind of got bored at the way I was writing um or I kind of want to challenge myself where I don't rhyme as much because I think that's what I was doing is just kind of rhyming a lot. So I'm wanted to ask you like do you have any songwriting tips or like um uh or how do you approach writing lyrics?
I'm definitely like a music first person. Um, and usually the music informs the lyrics or the melodies. Like normally I'll come up with something on like guitar or synth that's kind of the main part of the song, and usually that'll trigger like I'll hear a melody in my head that I think should go with that, and that melody lends itself to like particular sounds, and they'll turn into words. So I'll normally end up with like one or two lines of lyrics as I'm writing a song, but the rest of it is always like way later. And I really struggle with it too. Like sometimes it just takes ages before I get something that I'm at all happy with or like doesn't suck. Like, and I'm the same with you. Like sometimes I just get sick of like, yeah, I write a line. I'm like, man, yeah, I would write that line. Like that's so, it just feels like, yeah, yeah, it sounds too much like me. Like I want to do something different. As for advice, I don't know. I sort of want to change it up too. But like, I guess sometimes it just takes a while. Sometimes you just have to let things kind of marinate for a while. Um, and then one day you're just walking down the street and you're like, a
Bam,
line
it
pops
hits you.
in your head and you're like, oh, that's it. I'll write it down and then you think of something that'll go after that. And then it just kind of flows. But often it's a long time. You have to just sort of like bang your head against the wall before that happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's truly how it is sometimes. It just I don't want to call it like writer's block, but it's more like uh I guess kind of like just over critical of one's stuff, you know. Like we're our worst critics, I guess sometimes and
Yeah, for
um
sure.
sometimes when I'm like trying out new ideas, I'm like you say, oh, this sucks. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But
And
I think that
there's
that's just us being harsh. Like,
yeah, and there is a theory with some people that I've heard from writers that's like if you're worried that it's gonna suck or you start writing and you're like this is no good, just keep going and like get all your bad ideas out of the way. And then maybe you're writing a few lines of lyrics and you're like, oh, I'm not really happy with this, but I'll just keep going. And maybe the 11th line, you're like, oh, well, that's not too bad. So now I'll just take that and now I'll like build a song from that one little bit that I did like. Uh, and yeah, if you're like, I'll just get all my bad ideas out of the way because, I'm the only person reading this for now, so or hearing this for now, so it's all good.
no, I absolutely agree with that, and I'm kind of chuckling because I'm guilty of doing that a couple times where I'll go through like old journals and I'll be like, whoa, how did like 15-year-old me come up with this, you know, like potential song title or something like.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and I actually I listened to those new singles that you put out for the new album, but I was watching a live video of your shows this year, and uh I did get to listen to two other songs that are on the new record called Mercy and Dandelion. And the way the way I would like uh describe these songs, they sound like more funky, and for some reason I want to say tropical. I think
Yeah,
because
for
of the
sure.
percussion and the sounds, but um I also I I s- I heard some of these sounds also in Possum, and I thought like, what made you venture more into this sound?
I think it was just kind of naturally happened. Like yeah, this next album, it's definitely a lot more percussive and rhythmic and funky and that sort of thing. And I think I've felt that sort of music kind of brewing inside me for like a long time, like several years. And I'd sort of try and make it, and it would just sound kind of, I'm like, that's not really working. That's all good. I'll just leave it. And then for whatever reason, I just came up with a couple of songs that was like, okay, I think it's almost like this is the right time to do this now. Like I had a clearer picture of how to do it without it just sounding like, you know, I wasn't trying to sound like another band. I was doing it in my way. Um, so yeah, it definitely came from stuff I was listening to. Um, like Remain in Light, the Talking Heads album is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I was listening to more dance music. And yeah, I guess I wanted to make kind of, to me, this is like more than my other stuff, a really Australian sounding album. Like a lot of the nature sounds, and it's really inspired by like the landscape around me and that sort of thing. So yeah, I guess it all just like we were saying about the albums before, I like albums that sound like someone just needed to make it, and that's how I like to try and do my own stuff as well. Like I don't know what's going on, but this is just what it feels right to do right now, and we'll see if it's any good.
No, well, it's definitely very good from the four songs I've heard so far.
Thanks, man. It's funny that you could find like unreleased stuff online. I don't think I've ever had that before, like from the live show.
Yeah, I was like, well, this is a treat. Shout out to the person that recorded like the whole set. I was like, hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of times on the tour. Like, there'd be someone like right up front. And I look down and they'd just be kind of had their phone filming the whole time. I'm like, all right, I think you got the whole show. It's just like, hey, that's what you want to do. I wouldn't want to film me for an hour, but that's all good.
It's like the modern bootlegger.
Yeah, totally. But it's cool. I've been in the position so many times in the past for a band I really like. Has there's someone's filmed a new song at the show before it comes out, and I've watched that video so many times on YouTube, just sort of get to know the song before the album comes out. So I don't know, maybe there's someone out there doing that.
It's making me chuckle because like I think about the times I've done that too, like at a concert of an artist I really like, and and then for some reason like that voice in my head is like, why are you recording it? Just live it, just experience it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, but like you don't understand. I've never heard this one before. Like I want to
yeah,
revisit it.
yeah. You got to sort of do the combo where you just like have your phone like that, but you're also watching it yourself. Like, don't watch it through the screen.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, there's a thing I like to do in each episode that I I do like it's like a cross between like a ranking list of 10 songs that I'm really into, but also it's like a dream set list that like if I ever catch one of your shows, if you were to play these songs in it, I'd, be mind blown. So, was wondering as I go through this list of 10 songs, with each title, just like a little memory or something that comes to mind, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And for number 10, this one I feel like I'm gonna botch how to say it, but it's is it Daibutsi?
Daibutsu.
Daibutsi. All right.
Yeah. It's this huge statue of a Buddha in Japan. That's the Daibutsu. And a lot of there's like a bunch of stuff in the background of that song that I recorded on my phone when I was on holiday in Japan and just visiting, having a look at this statue. It's a kind of a tourist area. So that's why I called the song that. It's not about that or anything. It's just there's a bunch of like I guess field recordings from around there. You can hear like a Japanese tour guide giving people instructions, and like I was riding a bike, so there's little like bike bells in there and stuff. So that's where that name comes from.
That song rules. And yeah, I was curious too, like follow-up question. Does this new record have any like field recordings that you've experimented with before in the past?
Um, oh, the new one's got heaps of field recordings on it. Um, like of lots of birds and just like wildlife kind of stuff, birds and insects and rivers and stuff like that that are sort of not far from my house. There was when like in Melbourne during COVID, like we had a really long lockdown when you were like only could go out of your house for like a little bit of time each day. And my thing that I would do, I'd just like get on my bike and ride around, just like find some nature to be in. And eventually I got a field recorder and I would just like record stuff and experiment with putting it in songs.
Dang, that's awesome. That makes me more stoked to hear all of it. I love like nature sounds in albums.
Excellent. Well, you'll like it then.
Number 9, Silent Era.
Oh yeah. That's maybe one of my favorite songs that I've done, I think. Um yeah, I that was like I remember when I was working on that album, I sort of had two separate ideas that I was working on for songs. One was like the first half of that song, and the other was the second half. So one day I sort of realized I could splice them together and they fit really well as one song. So that was like one of those moments where you sort of go on, neither of these are really working, but then I put them together and I was like, oh, this is a song.
Eureka.
Yeah, Eureka, that's it.
Number 8 went with Two Summers.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones to play live. Um, and that one was I got a new guitar and that I plugged it in and that was that those chords were like the one of the first things that I played on this new guitar. So I quickly recorded it as a demo and then I just kept on going, oh, now this could happen and this could happen. Um, and it was sort of right towards the end of making Possum. Um, and because it had come together really quickly and easily, I was sort of like, oh, I don't really know if this is like if this is any good or not. And then John Lee, who's this producer that I was working in his studio with him to finish mixing the album. He was the one who convinced me, like, no, I think this is actually one of the better songs on this album. Like, you should definitely keep it. And friends of mine who I showed it to were like, no, this you should definitely keep this on the album. So there was a while there where I thought maybe not, and now I'm like, that was yeah, I don't know what I was thinking because I like it now. Grown on me.
Yeah, I'm glad that I didn't get scrapped then.
Yeah, me too.
Number seven, seems like you've made up your mind.
Yeah, that was that most of that song came together in like one day. Um, there's this guitar part. I've still got this voice memo on my phone of a guitar part in that, which is like kind of like a secondary backup guitar part, but that was the first thing that I came up with, and I recorded it on my phone, and I was like, oh, this almost sounds kind of cheesy. I'm just going to set myself a challenge of try and turn it into something good, or something that, try and turn it into something, and that ended up being that song. And then once, yeah, I just started singing the chorus over the top of it, and then it was like that was most of the song done, really.
Number six, talking distance.
That one, yeah, that's another one that sort of came together pretty quickly. Like I think I'd been working on a lot of like kind of more intricate stuff and getting a bit frustrated. So that one was just like I'm just gonna play through a distortion pedal and just do something a bit more kind of just blown out and simple.
Yeah, it's good to keep it simple sometimes, and
Yeah,
it's
usually
really
the better stuff.
yeah, it's also, a relief when like stuff just comes out naturally, like in a day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Number five, Fever Dream.
Um, yeah, that song's kind of about like an actual fever dream. I remember one night I got home from a rehearsal and I was like, oh, I'm not feeling that well. And it ended up being like this 2 week virus that I had, but I had these really bad dreams that night, just as I was like getting really sick. That sort of inspired the lyrics of that song. It's sort of, yeah, it got real deep and existential, which it didn't need to do. I was just really sick.
At
Yeah.
least you got a good song out of it.
Yeah, it's all worth it. I can barely remember being sick now, but I still got the song out of it, so it's all good.
Number four, Elsewhere.
Yeah, that's another one that's maybe one of my favorites. And I wrote that thinking it was just going to be guitar and vocals. So I just recorded the guitar. Like normally I record to a click track, so because I'm doing a lot of the instruments myself, so it like helps keep everything together. But I recorded that thinking it was just going to be guitar, so I'm like, oh, I won't record to a click. It can sort of drift in and out of time. But then I realized that I was going to have like full instrumentation on it, so I had to record everything else along to just this guitar track that was kind of out of time. Or the tempo of it drifts a lot. So that was kind of tricky but fun to be a good challenge.
And when I listen to that song, sometimes I'm like, uh, kind of like comparing to your other songs. I'm like, he sounds quite vulnerable in this one.
Yeah, I think yeah, funny we were talking about Good Morning before. That I think they're a band that really inspired like is on a song like that. I when I was making Wanderer and I was just like throwing everything at it and the production's all big and then getting to know those guys and hear their music and just how much restraint was in it and like it's a really vulnerable thing to do is to not fill your song with stuff just to like mainly just vocals and guitar and just be like here's how I feel like yeah
Yeah.
I reckon those guys probably inspired that one a bit.
Oh man. Yeah, and it's still crazy like the connection. I do hear like similarities in both of you guys as well, like the vulnerable aspect of it. Like I totally agree with that. Like sometimes, yeah, it is nice to have like that full sound, like with a band and all these arrangements. But like you said, like sometimes all it takes is like uh, I guess vulnerability and just something about the emotion of the song that can just kind of translate by itself, you know.
Yeah, I think more powerful than something that's filled with stuff sometimes. Like I think in a song, if when there's less going on, each little bit of the song has way more power. So just little
Mm.
moments become a lot more powerful. Yeah.
Shout out to Good Morning, man. That's like a dream guest. I would love to have on here.
Yeah, well, if I bump into either of them, I'll recommend you.
Awesome. And number three, Easy.
Yeah, that one's I remember making that and being really into it, and then the album came out and we sort of never really played it live. So I almost forgot about that one. Like even when you said easy, I was like, oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah, but I remember that one. That was another one where I really wanted it to sound vulnerable. Um, yeah, like I was definitely trying to do something a bit different with that one, like find a new, different kind of tone than I'd really had before in any songs. Different kind of vulnerability.
Number two for me is In Your Arms.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah, I remember that song was kind of some version of it of just that like the chord progression that it's based around was just kicking around in my head. Or, every time I pick up a guitar, I just wanted to do this thing that was kind of major and then turn minor. Um, and then I think it was I'd just gotten back from this festival called, or there's sort of two festivals that happen in the same place called Meredith and Golden Plains. It happens like out in the countryside, maybe like 2 hours from Melbourne. And then like there's one's at the start of summer and the other's at the end of summer. And I think it was Golden Plains, which happens at the end of summer. And just getting back from that, just like, it was 2 or 3 days of being at a festival, just being a bit of a wreck and just like at home trying to pull myself together and but yeah, just sort of still in that fun like mindset of um, hanging out and watching bands and stuff. And then just yeah, plugging in my guitar and sort of that day, I think I was in a kind of, I wasn't thinking too much or anything because I didn't have much of a brain to think with. So the song just kind of came together kind of quickly that day. I was sort of like, okay, I know where this chord progression goes now, and I know what to sing over the top of it. And I've got a voice memo on my phone of that one as well, like just me playing guitar and singing, and that's when like singing the In Your Arms bit in like the falsetto voice. I just started doing that. I don't know why. And then I was like, oh, okay. I think that's how it should go. Yeah, and then like that wasn't a single or anything. I liked it. I was really happy with it and then put it out and then that's been the song that yeah, most people seem to gravitate towards.
No, it is a great song, and I feel a little corny for saying it, but I really have felt like goosebumps when I've heard it, and it's like, whoa, like this song is just that good that like uh I can see why it like, you know, kind of skyrocketed, or like people people really gravitate towards that one.
Oh, thanks, man. It's a weird thing. Like I made it and I was like, yeah, I like this and you never know, but I was like, there's a chance other people will like this, but like you make something and then you put it out there and people have the completely this other their own feeling about it and what it means to them and like how it makes them feel that like I never intended that. Um, but it's cool. It sort of goes off and lives its own life.
Yeah, right. Like no expectations on it, but it's still like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, always a surprise. Yeah.
And number one for me. I placed this one as the number one because first time I listened to it, I just kept going back to it, and to this day, I mean, um, I think about it as like whoa, this dude like it's on Possum, and I was like, well, he's already kind of experimenting and trying out these other new sounds, but this one is like, oh wow, he really does make like great pop songs too. Number one is Ceasefire.
Oh yeah, that's yeah, another one that we've never played live. And when when we don't play them live, they just kind of float away. So like, but so I haven't heard that one for a while. But yeah, I remember being really um it was sort of like with Talking Distance, um, where I sort of got a bit fed up making things a certain way and just wanted to try and do something different. Like I had this sort of keys string part and just sitting there with a microphone that was kind of like my hand was covering it, which isn't meant, sort of how you meant to record vocals, but it was just so I could sort of quietly sing some ideas and just singing in a bit of a different way, just because I was just kind of over what I was doing, and that just sort of became the tone of the song, and it like informed the lyrics that it's a bit about just being like kind of fed up with the way you're going about things like inside your own head and just wanting to, stop feeling sorry for yourself and start start doing things a bit differently. Um, but yeah, I feel like maybe we should try and play it live because yeah, I just sort of other songs came about, and so yeah, we've never
Yeah.
given it a shot. I think we really should.
No, that if I heard that song live, I'd be like, wow. Have you ever um have you ever had like a synth somebody play synths in the live settings?
Yeah, since well, I guess on oh no, goodness gracious, there's like a few like string sort of sounds. So one of the band was playing that on synth, and then definitely with Possum, like a lot of the songs are really built around it. And on the new record, there's lots of synth as well. So it's usually yeah, usually one of the band playing a bit of synth on at least like it's probably on more than half the songs live now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how you describe that song is totally like the the vibe that I picked up from it as well. I love that line, the cynicism won't pay the rent, boy.
Yeah. And that was, yeah, the first time I was like just doing a little vocal demo. That was one of the lines that came out and just started saying boy at the end of some of the lines. I don't know why. I think it's a little bit there's this song by a band I really like, Underworld called Born Slippy. And there's he sort of says it a bit the same. Says
Mm.
boy at the end of some of his lines in that song. So I'm like, I wonder if I was subconsciously trying to sound like him.
I for some reason I right now I thought of John Lennon too. He has like a couple songs where he says boy.
Yeah, it's fun to do, as it turns out. But yeah, that's one of those things where I was like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this because I feel this way, and then it means this. I just did it because it was like, it just kind of happened. And I was like, I'll just leave it in there.
Like a bit of stream of conscious.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, and just I've been having fun with this interview. It kind of just flew by. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And just any last like thoughts or messages on the new upcoming album, Double Magic?
Um, I mean, I'd probably think this about every album, but I think it's the best one I've done. It's like the most like normally I work in a way where I'm just like write a bunch of songs and see which ones kind of fit together, but this is the most I've ever had like a real creative vision for an album that I was working towards. Um, and talking before about the way I was feeling when I made Wanderer, where it just felt like really creative and things were flowing. Like this album took me a long time to make, but it's the most I've felt like that. Like I was just making it because I really needed to make it. So yeah, I think like I said, that's when I do my best stuff, and I think that's what happened with this one. Like I'm really proud of it. It's the first album I've ever made where when I finished it, I was actually kind of sad. Normally I'm just like super relieved. Like I've been working on this for so long, I just want it to be done, but I was like, damn, I don't get to work on this album anymore. Like I really had a good time. I had a good time making it. It was really fun to make. So yeah, I hope that comes across when people hear it. Um, if not, that's fine because I had a good time.
It's a great attitude, and no, I know for sure. Like it's the music's gonna speak for itself, man, and makes me more excited to listen to all of it. August 15, I believe.
Yeah, that's the one.
Awesome.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Save the date.
I just got an email before saying the records are ready. The records are all pressed, so
Oh, the vinyl.
getting close. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome, man. Well, it's what, like about to be 2 p.m. over there? Or?
yeah, yeah.
Hey Nick, well, thank you so much again for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
Cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for the chat. It was fun.